Hey everyone, welcome to the Co-working Cuppa. My name is Nicole and I go live here at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays onto my co-working space channels to talk a little bit about sort of small business development kind of topics and co-working concerns. And this month I'm sort of using as a theme for virtual events. Obviously, a lot of co-working spaces have pivoted to virtual events. A lot of non-co-working spaces have pivoted to virtual events during the pandemic. And it looks like going forward, the reality is a lot of us will be at least hosting hybrid events with an online component to them. So I've just seen some really clever stuff in the past year or so, or even in the past few months in particular. I think at first we were all just trying to figure out how to use Zoom. But now that we get how to use Zoom, well, most of us do, we're here to kind of get a little more clever with it. So the theme of today is clever virtual events and a little bit about why I think they work. So today I have 5 examples that we can go through, and these events, some of them are free, some of them are cost money, some of them are like a regular event, so something that happens on a regular basis, and some of them are one-offs. And in any case, there's a lot of really great possibilities out there in terms of how we can think about events in the future. Whoops, I shared my screen before I meant to. So a little quick thing, just introduce myself in case you've never tuned in before. My name is Nicole. I own 2 co-working spaces. One is in the state of Maine, one is in the state of New York. That's a long story. But the other thing you need to know too is we also have a virtual co-working community. So if you're working from home and you just feel a little untethered, or you just want a smart group of people that will look over your resume with you, or will read an email and make sure you're not being a jerk. This is the kind of thing that we're here for. So we have a Slack community. We have weekday morning 8 a.m. like wake up kind of calls. We do have a once a week virtual lunch. And there's just kind of a lot of ways to connect with people. And we try to also host regular events. So feel free to join us there. And if you want to just go to that thing, you can check if we have any questions. So on with the actual meat of the episode of the clever events. So like I said, these are across different industries. So I think they're really interesting. And I think there's something to be kind of learned from each of them. So let me just go ahead and share my screen and talk a little bit about them. So our first example is the Mystery Hour with Con Sweeney. So actually Con is one of our Anchor Space virtual members, and he hosts a monthly stream from Second Life. So Second Life, for those of you who don't know, is a virtual world. If you become an Anchor Space member, we do have a Second Life sort of class that we recorded with Con and is available in the library of courses we have on our site. But what he does is he goes in world in Second Life. He has an avatar, and his guest also has an avatar. And this is happening live in Second Life, but also it's streaming to YouTube and Facebook. And he's interviewing authors in the mystery genre. So it's a monthly event. It happens, I think it's like the 3rd Thursday. It's on a very regular basis. And so each one of them, is a different author or someone who works with authors, but in the sort of mystery thriller type genre. And it's a really great way for Con to obviously meet authors. He's a marketing person, and he specializes in, he works with lots of people, but he specializes in working with authors. So it's a great way for him to kind of meet people he could work with, and also meet people who are generally interested in mystery writing. So people who might be potential authors. And it's just something nice that he does for the community. Okay, it's right on the screen, Nicole. Every 3rd Monday of the month at 6 p.m. And that's Eastern time. So I think it's really neat to have a regular event like this with a set format. And then in terms of, it's a matter of, obviously, as the interviewer, you prepping the questions and getting guests. But I think this is a really neat idea to have. And obviously there's lots of different mystery and thriller authors to be interviewed out there. And Con's able to help elevate maybe some new authors. He's also able to ask maybe some well-known authors some interesting questions on behalf of his viewers. So if you're somebody who works with a certain demographic of people, creating a regular event for that demographic of people who are also interested is I think, a really good idea. The second event that I have here is my colleague Robbie has this event called No More Bad Zoom. virtual happy hour. Why isn't this displaying? Oh, it thinks I'm editing my thing. Let me try this again. So basically, this is a free event. It happens on Friday night, and people can come and network with each other, but there's also a little bit of a teaching component as Robbie goes over like a Zoom topic or has a special guest who has, experience in, virtual event production, stuff like that. There's usually at least 50 people at this virtual event, and they're usually from all over the place. I mean, somebody came from Fiji, like the last time I was on. So this is really great. It establishes Robbie, obviously, as an expert in running virtual events and using Zoom generally. But also it's kind of a great way to sort of give back to the community. It's a pretty big time commitment, obviously, to be available for 2 to 3 hours every single week. But for those of us who go, sometimes it's nice to kind of meet new people and have a well-organized virtual event. He's good at sort of topic prompts, and also, there's plenty of networking time and being able to change rooms. He always has some different like interesting topics going on. So that's a way to, if you want to like run just a general networking event, that's a really good model to follow. Now, I don't want to ignore my arts people because I am a creative and I am an artsy kind of person. So this is, for those of you who listen to NPR, they have their Tiny Desk concerts where they were doing, obviously, before the pandemic, they would have a concert like in their offices, in their little NPR offices. But now, obviously, they've moved everything online. So they're streaming people's concerts from their homes, which I think in some ways is a little bit more intimate and interesting. But yeah, so they are having a festival. And so they like basically, aggregated these artists together and, made it something that could support those artists, which I think is really neat. And, they sold out the event, but they're also, I think this is really nice the way they did this page that they tell you, hey, if you do want to be notified for the live streams, check that out. And then on the lower right corner here, which is a little hard to see, there's the stream the fest right here. And I'm not sure, again, I actually didn't click on this link before the broadcast to see what it is. So, so we'll see. But yeah, I should have done this before the event. My apologies. There we go. So we see, okay. I can see all the kind of past tiny, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for going on that journey with me. But point being is, if you're an artist type person, it's nice to be able to get the gang together virtually and see that people are willing to pay to access that kind of content. I think that's really powerful. And I think those of us who support the arts and maybe aren't artists ourselves appreciate the opportunity to do this. And a lot of these type of things I wouldn't necessarily get to see because I wouldn't necessarily like travel to see these concerts. But because the ticket prices are a little bit lower and because it doesn't involve travel, there's a way for kind of more people to support artists at a lower price point than maybe, can fit in one particular, because obviously you're limited to the people that can fit in a venue, but online that number becomes limitless. So I thought that was really neat, that the way that they sort of pivoted this thing that people really liked, the Tiny Desk series, and they changed it so that it could happen virtually. Makes total sense to me. Now, this one I literally just found out right before the broadcast. I'm on TikTok, and I really enjoy TikTok, not going to lie. So this I thought was interesting. So this is this comedian, Emma Vernon, hosts, and she used to do this in real life. So she has this comedy show, and she finds single New Yorkers. She gets them up on stage. She asks them funny questions, and the audience can ask questions. And, she had the idea when everything obviously got canceled to move this online. So obviously, like, she's doing a Valentine's Day show. But I think she has this on a pretty regular basis. But I think this is fun because, like, currently, like, it looks like their tickets are off sale, which I'm wondering if they like sold out between when she posted that on TikTok and now that she's So anyway, point being is that I think it's really, if you take something that worked in real life and are willing to tweak the format, I think that that's really neat. And also, again, I wouldn't necessarily travel to New York City to like see this show, but using platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok to promote your events, you can have people attend the events that wouldn't be able to attend in real life. So I think that's really, like I said, interesting. And I like that she's a comedian matchmaker. I've always joked that I should start a matchmaking service in my rural area because I know all these awesome women. I'd like to be able to set them up with people. But yeah, I thought that was neat. And finally, if you're looking for some kind of event that's a sort of hybrid real life and virtual event, I thought this was interesting. If you watched Parks and Rec, you know about Galentine's Day, which is, where we celebrate our gal pals. And I thought it was neat. This podcast I listened to called Swipe Fat, which is about dating when you're a plus size woman. And they partnered with this cocktail company so that you basically bought this box. And part of the purchase of the box is you got like the mixers and a rose and some caramels, I think, or whatever. And so when you purchase this for $55, after the purchase, you get the Zoom link. And so you're making cocktail in your apartment. I think you might have to buy things like, it says what it comes with and it says what you'll need to purchase additionally. Obviously they can't, ship you a fresh lime or something. But point being, making some cocktails and having this virtual event, but also having a physical component to it. So if you're somebody who does events and you're not like comfortable, putting this together, partner with a business that does this, partner with your local, a local gift shop or a local retailer or a local, wine store or something like that is used to kind of the whole like shipping, pricing, whatever of this kind of thing. And you can hold the event and obviously incorporate these things into your event as well. So anyway, I think it's really interesting to have all of these possibilities out there. And I think people are getting, like I said, really clever. Now that we've figured out the basics of Zoom, we're all now willing to go a little bit beyond and think of really interesting events that our potential clients or customers want to attend. And also because we're willing to kind of think that way, people are also willing to pay a little bit of money, whether it's for a box with, with smoked salt syrup, a jigger, caramels, garnishes, a rose. And yeah, that's it. And then admission to the thing, or whether it's for just an entertaining event that we wouldn't necessarily travel to, but would like to attend virtually. I think that's really interesting. So anyway, if you've seen clever online events out there, I hope you leave a comment. I always like knowing about different things people are up to. I think even if it's not in your industry, sometimes it gets you thinking a little bit. At least I find it inspiring anyway to kind of see people outside of my particular industry and what they're doing, because that sometimes gives me ideas for myself. And if you have any topics that you want me to cover or any questions about virtual events, feel free to leave a comment on this video, or you can send me an email. I'll just pop my email on the screen. You can just email me and ask me, and I will do a video on it. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Take care.